Hello, friends. I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? Hope it's fantastic. Everything here is great. I've been doing some reading. I've been doing not novels, role-playing games, and role-playing game adjacent things. This this is maybe a little bit of a sickness. This all started, if you didn't know, when I was in Essen. I was driving with Ignacy to Essen. It's a 10-hour car ride, and he was talking about how him and his friends had always talked about running a game during that drive, and they never did it. And that got me thinking. I had seen an ad for like a one-shot RPG, like the idea of like, let's read this book and play it and then we're done. And I was like, that sounds fantastic. And so I started asking questions on social media, and I got a whole bunch of recommendations. And the first one that I bought was Blades in the Dark, and I love it. This one I bought because, number one, it's a very easy system to jump into and out of, I think. And two, I love the setting. It's like a gas lamp punk setting. Gas punk, is that a thing? So, bought this all in. My kid's been asking to play D&D. But the last time we tried to play D&D, they got overwhelmed by statistics and tables and charts and turn-based combat. So I picked up Dungeon World to run with the kids. I think that this is a much simpler, narrative-driven system. Somebody else recommended Index Card RPG. This is a very lightweight system with 5 worlds and a whole bunch of monsters and a whole bunch of hacks to make it however the heck you want it to work. It's kind of like this with a D20 system instead, and pretty easy to go. And then the last thing I've been reading, well, I also have Fallout RPG upstairs, but it's not in the same format as these books. And I have a few more on order. And I've read dozens of PDFs from World of Dungeons, which is a hack for Dungeon World that takes out all the D&D aspects of it and makes it more modern, to things like little journaling RPGs, little solo journaling RPGs. I've read lots of those, and I have Iron Helm or Iron, something like that, on order. But I've been reading Ignacy's book. This is called Play Smart from Ignacy Chevee, my friend. And this is a book about how to run a game, how to run a successful game, how to keep your players engaged and all that sort of stuff. And so as I was reading this, I was thinking about these other books, all three of these books, and this book, to some degree. This was written in like 2008, so this is pre all of this. This is still like D&D 3.5. Like, I guess 4 was out, but nobody was playing it. Like, 4 kind of tanked D&D, so people were still playing 3.5. This was during that era. And so I have a point here. And the point is, when growing up, D&D was my intro to role-playing games, 2nd edition. My friend had it. I wasn't allowed to have it. Satanic Panic and all that. My friend had it. We played every chance we could possibly get. This is when we were like late 80s. So like 9, 10, 11, 12. Like, we were reading Tolkien, and we were really into the idea of role-playing. And so it fit us, and we played a lot. And we had friends that we played with. We played quite a bit. I also played Battletech Mech Warrior with another friend. He liked to play that game. He tried to get me into Shadowrun, and we made characters a few times, but never played it. When I was old enough to purchase books, and I still wasn't allowed to have D&D in the house, I purchased Tunnels and Trolls, and then I bought every solo scenario I could get my hands on, and played all the solo scenarios myself. And then I moved on to Earth Dawn, which is FASA did a fantasy RPG called Earth Dawn, which was like that one I played many, many years of Earth Dawn. And then back to D&D. With 3rd edition came out, I played lots of 3rd edition, play-tested 3rd edition, played a lot of it. So I grew up in that era. In the, like, 2nd edition was like late 80s or mid 80s or something like that. Late 80s, I don't know when it came out. it was still like a dungeon crawling RPG. And so I grew up in the era of the mean GM. Like the dungeon master's job was to trick the players. The dungeon master's job was to trap them and to snare them and to throw monsters at them they could barely handle, and to really relish in defeating the players. At least that was my experience. That was my experience playing. That was also my experience reading source materials, reading magazines. The game was for the dungeon master to set up this cool dungeon with all these tricks and then try to catch the players, and haha, I win. Like the dungeon master was trying to win and the players were trying to win, and it was this very different style of play. And reading these books, all of these books, all four of these books, including the PDFs I've been reading, it's a very different thing. These are not the role-playing games I grew up with. These are not. This is how to tell a story together. The GM's job in these books is to befriend the characters, to be fans of the characters, to befriend the narrative, to base everything in the fiction and not the rulebook. The rulebook is just a guidebook. The fiction defines what happens, defines how things work out. The fiction is the master, and you're just the pilot. Something. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But the point is, when was this shift? So I missed it. I stopped playing right around the time 3.5 came out. I was still playing 3rd edition after 3.5 came out. We played for a little bit, and then so it's been. My oldest is now 19, and so maybe she was 1 when I stopped playing. So it's been 18 and or 19 years since I stopped playing RPGs. So I missed this shift in the industry. I missed this narrative shift where these rule books, like these books, with the exception of Blades in the Dark, which has a decent amount of world building, the theme that I'm seeing amongst a lot of these books is world building is part of the game. Like you do that together. You're not sitting down as a game master and drawing up maps and planning out towns and building NPCs and setting this whole universe up for your players to encounter. You're building that with your players through the play. And these books are the majority, even Blades in the Dark, the majority of this book is teaching you how to run a game. It's teaching you how to ask the right questions from the players. It's teaching you how to let the players fill in the blanks. It's teaching you how to have a narrative story together. And I don't know when that shift happened. Like, am I just crazy? Has it always been this way? And I just happened to play with people who didn't participate in that version of role playing? I mean, I played a lot of convention things, and it was the same thing there. It was dungeon masters trying to not necessarily hurt the players, but dungeon masters showing off their cool maps, their cool dungeons, their cool characters. It was more about them being a bit them peacocking than the game. I used to participate in RPGA, which I don't know if that's still a thing. That was the Role Playing Gamers Association, and this was like you had a character that was registered and you gained experience, and they would send out these modules every month, and so you would run a module and you would get experience for running that module, and so the game master's job was to run the module and that as written, and so when did this narrative shift happen, or am I crazy? Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe it's always been there, and I just played with people who liked to be mean. I don't know, but I'm enjoying it. I'm hoping this weekend to run my first game of Dungeon World with my kid. I'm going to be running it as a duet, so it's just the two of us. And this system is definitely not made for that. This is intended to be a full party game, but the fun part about role playing is not what's in the book. It's what happens at the table, and making your own fun out of it is part of the fun for me. Making this a source book for our world and our creation is what makes it fun for me. And so I don't need the game system to be designed for a duet, a two-player game. I can make that work myself. Thanks. I have enough experience, I think. So we're going to try it, and we'll see what happens, and I'll let you know. Forgot to hit publish yesterday. Again, I don't know what was happening in my head yesterday, but I published a video this morning. Brad, go check it out. Where are you? Whatever. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know sounds smart is subjugation. It is acknowledging the process of making someone your inferior and requiring them to take orders from you. There was a flavor of subjugation in his love for Madeline. Saul Bellow, an American author. Subjugation. S-U-B-J-U-G-A-T-I-O-N. Is that also not like... well, I guess, yeah. I guess, you know, incarceration is a form of subjugation as well, right?